Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming. My name is Hollow and today we're talking Subnautica, that being Subnautica 2 because that's what we're calling it now instead of 3. We have some new meaty information today, a mini drama and some resolutions around that to talk about. But as a heads up, Subnautica is a game I've got a long history with. I originally played it in a very super early alpha state where the game was pretty barren and there certainly wasn't any story. Until it became the fleshed out, unique experience we look back on now. With that, the other two creators for Rage Gaming decided to check out the original Subnautica and Below Zero recently for full playthroughs that I strongly recommend. With them both recently completing the games in full, a lot of questions came up about the future of Subnautica, and so now I'm covering the news about Subnautica whenever possible. As I said though, today I've got some exciting actual details, new info from Unknown Worlds and their publisher Krafton, and some of that's definitely going to disappoint based on the timelines. But let's get into it with some context. The old news, in short, is that the third Subnautica game is confirmed and has been in development for some time. Originally revealed without much fanfare by Unknown Worlds themselves. They opened up a job listing for a senior narrative designer to specifically help them shape the next game in what they were calling the Subnautica universe. That was clear confirmation they're working on a new game and it's set within their universe. Either way, that was back in April of 2022 and then was followed on later by the Krafton financial report that outlines future plans including details about Subnautica. Krafton is the publisher for Unknown Worlds, and with them giving general expected timelines for the games they're publishing, Subnautica's timeline was talked about. In 2024 they're planning say mobile versions of games, new releases and such, but in 2025 they're expecting, as they called it, the next Subnautica. The result of that reveal was pretty funny. There was a lot of speculation and discussion, but a fair question did come up. Does this mean there's going to be no early access for the third Subnautica game? If the game is going to land in full in 2025, will we suddenly get early access actually this year? On that, if you're unaware, both Subnautica and its sequel Below Zero were in a playable state well before its official full release. 2014 was when you could really start to test and try the original game, but it didn't launch in true until 2018. That was 4 full years of early access. Then you had Below Zero with a faster timeline, fully releasing in 2021, but going into early access in 2019. 2-year gap. So with there being a 5-year gap between each original game and its early access version, and a faster timeline between early access to launch, it did seem possible that 2025 would be the full release. We might even get early access this year. With all that speculation discussion going on, Unknown Worlds were kind of, I guess, surprised by it and decided to weigh in. We had this tweet stating that our recent excitement for the next game in the Subnautica universe has been infectious. While they're not quite ready to surface more info, keep watching the space. They're going to be sharing more information with their early access plans in 2024. We went quiet for a little bit after that, but 2 new big things happened pretty much at once. On February 8th, Krafton released their next report. This one was for Q4 of 2023. And once again, this means there's details for different plans as a publisher, including Subnautica. On page 7, we have this brief information about 5 different titles they're currently involved with, including Subnautica, now named and referenced as Subnautica 2, with some big bullet points of information to consider. First, we will be exploring another oceanic world powered by Unreal Engine 5. So they've upgraded to UE5. With that, we can certainly expect some seriously impressive visuals and probably horrors because of that in this new game. Second, it will indeed feature co-op as a major feature finally. No modding for that needed, and hopefully a lot less jank because of it. Single player will still be available. They referred to the co-op as optional 2 to 4 co-op to uncover the mysteries on an entirely new alien planet. So we're not going to be returning to the original planet in a new location. We're going to a new planet entirely. And lastly, here's the real kicker. Early access is expected post 2024. Damn. So that's pretty huge news. Subnautica 2 is the official title unless they tell us otherwise. Unreal Engine 5 is going to make for an incredible visual upgrade experience. The fact that we can properly play a Subnautica game in co-op is going to be awesome, with up to 4 players at once, by the way. I fully expected 2 players max, so that's some good news too. Also, I think a new planet is just very good news in particular. I think it's better when there's, complete mystery and the limits are basically removed for the devs. There was a clear kind of set vibe within Below Zero where I feel their ability to go nuts with area design was more restricted. Obviously, with it all being in that icy area, it kind of felt samey, as cool as that kind of vibe was. We lost that alien planet of exploration feel, where you can kind of do anything. Maybe you can have a hot and cold area right next to each other. Insane creatures that only exist in fantasy, awesome. Brilliant terrains to explore that maybe in design and function are completely illogical. I'm all for that. So a new planet is good news to me because it should give them more opportunities to go nuts. But yeah, also post 2024 for early access. It's going to be 2025 at the earliest. It's disappointing to hear that timeline, but it's understandable. Now, one thing before we continue on is one big thing was missing from this current version of the report that I looked at today and saw, hey, it's gone. It no longer seems to say anything about game as a service model with enhanced replayability. This was apparently originally there and now it's gone. And that's kind of what caused the drama, as it were. It was brought more to public attention when IGN talked about it. But instead of tweeting, what it actually said, they kind of took those details and ran 10 steps ahead, creating new details out of what was said. Pretty classic. They claimed this confirms the game is multiplayer focused, even though it said completely optional, and that it is a live service, even though it didn't say that. It said game as a service. Thankfully, there is one good thing that remains about the Twitter website, and that's community notes, which discredited this silly post IGN put out. That community note was referencing an official response from Unknown Worlds clarifying things after IGN made that silliness. The short post came shortly after that mess then, featuring this lovely new image of what must be the new game. Early access is not intended for release in 2024, so that's confirmed, but we plan to have a lot more information later this year. So while Subnautica 2's timeline is pushed back from what we hoped, at least we're going to get details, maybe teasers and trailers, and yeah, proper information soon. It then says, in reference to games as a service, we simply plan to continually update the game for many years to come, just like the previous two Subnautica games. Think of our early access update model, but just expanded. No season passes, no battle passes, no subscription. Great news. Games as a service meant that the game is going to be supported beyond early access and launch, and kind of works how it did before. It is not a live service game, and they never said that. I really appreciate them, specifically calling out tired models of live service games like, season and battle passes, especially for a game like this that certainly shouldn't have them. Lastly, they also said the game is not multiplayer focused. Co-op, as it said, is entirely optional. You'll be able to enjoy the game fully as a single player experience, which is what, the Krafton report suggested anyway. Optional multiplayer, but the game isn't necessarily designed, to be played in multiplayer like IGN's post suggested it was. So yeah, that was the mini drama, and as silly as all that was, it did kind of give us new information and that excuse for them to post that image. Subnautica 2 is the new name, at least for now. Multiplayer is available, it's on a new planet, we're going to enjoy it all in Unreal Engine 5, which is going to be awesome, and it's very likely we're going to get early access for it sometime 2025. But yeah, I hope this recap and overview of all things Subnautica 2 was useful and interesting to you. If you guys have any extra details for us, you can drop it in the comments. But I will be back again in the future when I've got more good information to share and discuss, usually not too long after we have it. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.